What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're here for a brand new Madden 25 realistic rebuild of the Pittsburgh Steelers, as voted on by you guys every video the last 2 weeks. All the comments saying next rebuild got to be the Steelers. When are you doing the Steelers? So that is what we are doing here today, where we have at minimum of 5, maximum of 10 seasons to try and figure out what is wrong, why the Pittsburgh Steelers can't get over the hump. I think the big obvious answer is Mike Tomlin has struggled to find a Ben Roethlisberger replacement. And until the Pittsburgh Steelers find a quarterback, they aren't going anywhere. Because I know it's kind of split around Mike Tomlin right now. It kind of feels a little bit like Andy Reid in Philadelphia. Andy Reid won a lot of games, went to a Super Bowl at Philadelphia, and then it just ultimately burned out. He went to Kansas City, rest is history. Is that something with Mike Tomlin? Is he just burned out? Has he done all he can do with Pittsburgh? And can he do more damage with a different franchise? I don't think that's the case, Mike Tomlin. I think he's an awesome players coach, the prototype CEO type. And I'm going to try. We're going to keep him around, and we're going to try and find a quarterback solution to get this team back in a winning way. So the injuries are now over. We're in the offseason, so I can kind of get a big picture of this team and who our starters are going to be, not just guys that are banged with injury. I think you look at the offensive line. We'll start up here with the big dudes up front. You feel pretty good. You got Broderick Jones, who needs to develop. We're going to try him at left tackle because Dan Moore is set to be a free agent, and it's time. It's time to throw the rookie into the deep end. We have Isaac Seumalo coming over from the Philadelphia Eagles. Jeff Stoutland, you very solid and reliable. You have Zach Frazier. Anytime you have an 82 hidden dev rookie, you know you did something right. What a home run pick for the interior there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. At right guard, you got options. Daniels is set to be a free agent, but he's only $26.79 with the dev trade, or you have McCormick on the rookie contract. 74, that's probably the direction we want to go, just to save a little bit of money. And you got Fatanu, who's an outstanding pick, can play pretty much everywhere on the offensive line, but I think it makes the most sense for us to start him at right tackle. Unfortunately, his rookie campaign was set back due to injury, so there's no development. I'm pretty sure he was like a 77 hidden dev before the season even started. So, we did lose a year of development, but I'm still very optimistic that he's going to develop into a very, very good player for us. And hopefully a franchise tackle. Tight end, you got Frymouth, who's legit. You got the super weapon in Darnell Washington. We've used him in rebuilds before. He got very creative and found a lot of different ways he can impact an offense. So I feel good about that. And then you look at the running room. We have Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. Both these guys are set to be free agents. I'll be honest, whichever one of these guys has the better contract, we'll probably go with. Jalen Warren's lower overall, and he's younger, so that might give him an inside track. But Najee Harris kind of reliable. You need 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. He will get you 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. You need 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. Well, he'll get you 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. So we need to make a smart decision, because I think we're going to be built as a team, especially when it comes time to pay maybe George Pickens, that we're going to want an affordable running back and not an expensive one. Speaking of George Pickens, the wide receiver room, you have Mike Williams on a rental. You got Calvin Austin and Roman Wilson. The rookie out of Michigan, another player just suffered injury and lost a year of development. But I think Roman Wilson with his speed and Austin with his speed and athleticism, we can find roles for those players. Shout out Calvin Austin. Remember, we made him a running back in last year's Cardinals franchise. He was dominant. But then you got George Pickens. And I've made it very well known. 3 years ago when he was coming out of Georgia, I hate Georgia. I'm a Gators fan through and through. But I was like, George Pickens is maybe the best wide receiver in this class. He's my favorite wide receiver in the class. He's my sleeper wide receiver in the class. And he's incredibly a polarizing player, to say the least. I think it's fair to say, on any given play, George Pickens could just bail on a last-second Hail Mary and start swinging on a corner in the back of the end zone, completely removing himself from the play. And or he will make a catch that, he can make. And he will act literally on any given play, he could be the best wide receiver in the NFL. That is the kind of potential he has. That is what we need him to be. It's kind of the mantra of Mike Tomlin team, to kind of have a head case at wide receiver. And George Pickens is no different. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm writing down who's going to be on this team. We have a minimum of 5, maximum of 10. If we have to go 10 seasons, who's still going to be on this team? Frazier, Fautano, and George Pickens, I can guarantee you, will still be on this team if it goes that far. You look at the defense, and despite the shortcomings offensively and not really being able to find a quarterback, I think the reason why the Pittsburgh Steelers are so consistent and consistently winning and above 500 and all that different stuff is because of their defense. You look at the front three, Ogunjobi, kind of a Band-Aid role player. Benton has some upside to develop into a very good long-term nose tackle. You have Cam Hayward, 93 X factor, very good football player. Maybe not better than Jalen Carter to get first-team All-Pro, but very good football player, and I've been watching the Hard Knocks in season with the AFC North. And he's come off very well. Probably out of all the Steelers that have been featured, I was like, you know what? He looks good. He's old head, very good, reliable player. You throw in TJ Watt, who's slowing down a little bit, but still not a 97 X factor. He's a baller. Patrick Queen got very nice money to come over and jump ship from the Ravens to the Steelers. Reliable at linebacker. I mean, we got bodies here. Roberts, you got Holcomb, 79 star dev, but I'm thinking long-term, and we got to start thinking long-term. Peyton Wilson, who was my number 1 linebacker from last year's draft class. Anytime you have a 6'4", 240-pound linebacker, for Madden's argument's sake, he does have a dev trait, but anytime you get that, and he has 91 speed and 93 acceleration, that's going to work. On top of the fact that like he was uber productive in college, it's just one of those things where I think it was a knee injury or a long-term knee injury kind of had him fall in the draft. He's been a baller. He made a lot of splash plays for the Steelers defense as a rookie, and he's going to be a starter for us going forward. And then you got Highsmith on the other side. John, just another casual 89 superstar pass rusher. Then you got an underrated pass rusher in Nick Herbig, who Lane Johnson was on the Kay Adams show, and Kay Adams was like, who's the most underrated pass rusher you went up against this year? And he said Herbig. Now, there could be a little bit of glazing going on because Herbig's brother Nate was with the Philadelphia Eagles for a minute, so he's probably buddies with Lane Johnson. But I think there's upside there. I liked Herbig a lot when he was in college. Very versatile player. Is he ever going to get on the field for us is the issue. So maybe there's some trade value there potentially for Herbig, because I definitely think he could start in the NFL, but is he going to play ahead of Highsmith? Is he going to play Watt? Both those guys are paid. I don't know. We'll wait and see, but we have lots of depth in this front seven. I think my only worry is we don't have a Hayward successor. So if he surprisingly retires this offseason when we sim into next year, going into year one, that would be a bummer. That would drastically have to change my draft plans. And then finishing up with the secondary, you got Joey Porter Jr., who has a lot of upside, kind of penciling him in at being a long-term starter. You got Jackson. Who would have thought the Steelers would have won that trade? Sending Deontay Johnson to the Panthers. They get Dante Jackson back. Jackson's like, oh, I'll just get you 5 picks. And then they get UDFA Beanie Bishop Jr. I think he played it said he went to West Virginia. I feel like he played at Kansas. Could be misremembered. But he had like 4 picks. You know, there's a lot of upside there as well. Just the Steelers tend to draft very, very well, all things not quarterback. You know what? To defend them a little bit, it's pretty hard to draft a quarterback when you're always picking in like the late teens, and you're kind of a franchise that's afraid to trade up every now and again. But the secondary, you know, throw in Ellett, who's a solid starter, and then you get Minkah Fitzpatrick, who I think Minkah and Derwin James for me are like in this bubble of like they have name value, you know they're good, but like when you really watch the Chargers and when you really watch the Steelers play, you get like, oh my God, this guy's incredible. This guy is an absolute game changer at his position. I think 92 superstar might be underselling Minkah Fitzpatrick a little bit. I think if he was an X Factor, no one would bat an eye. I think if he was a 95, 96 overall, that would certainly check out. So maybe underrated, but I'll tell you right now, he is going to be a cornerstone. I'm going to do everything in my power. He's 27 years old to make sure he retires a Pittsburgh Steeler. Hell, then you go the special teams. Boswell, is he the best kicker in the league this year? Probably. We have Cordell Patterson, Calvin Austin. I don't know if we're going to probably re-sign Patterson. Unlikely. But, I mean, special teams, very good. Defense, very good. Offense, damn good, especially if you're looking at this from like a 5-year rebuild. The O-line looks in a great spot. We have a wide receiver 1. We have a tight end 1. It's the quarterbacks. And I have no idea what we should do with the quarterback spot. Clearly, Russell Wilson is not bad, but he's probably not getting a second contract. He just couldn't ever elevate this Steelers team. When the offense needed to get going, they had to have it type drives. Yeah, he couldn't pull the trigger. And then you got Justin Fields, who had 10 touchdowns to 1 turnover, was 4-1, 4-2 as a starter, but then they were like, oh, we got to go with Russ. I get the feeling that a lot of Steeler fans, if you're clicking on this video or you're just thinking about it from a real life standpoint, would like to see what Justin Fields can do for another year. Or we can look at a quarterback. I don't really want to trade up. I kind of want to follow in the line of the Steelers. I don't think the Steelers would ever make a trade up to get a Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. But then you can look at those secondary quarterbacks. Maybe quarterbacks you don't have to use a first-round pick on. Quinn Ewers, Jackson Dart. We could wait till next year, and then we could look for maybe Drew Allett from Penn State or Iamaleava from Tennessee. Like, there are a lot of options that we could... Jalen Milroe. There's a lot of options that we could do, and I have no idea. The Philadelphia Eagles are getting ready in about 25 minutes to take on the Rams in a snow bowl. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up a poll on my Twitter, @PapaXC4. Give it a follow. We do giveaways. We do feedback stuff for videos like this all the time over there. I'm going to put up a poll of all different quarterback options. Put some draft picks. I'll put, not Russ, but I'll put Justin Fields up there. I will go with what you guys want to see off that poll. Poll is finished. The Eagles have won. We're going to the NFC Championship game, but more importantly for this video, the poll is finished. And after a couple hundred votes, we are going to be at least re-signing whatever contract is going to be it a long-term, or if he turns it down, a franchise tag. Justin Fields is going to at least be our starting quarterback for this Steelers rebuild. Getting closing. The stats that the Steelers put up this year. Russell Wilson, meh. But Justin Fields, we got 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick, 65% completion percentage, and he also gave us another 5 rushing touchdowns. So 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns, 1 turnover. Now, he did have 4 fumbles. I don't know how many of those were losses. But, I mean, I'm optimistic that we might be able to get something here. I mean, look at the rest of the team. We got 1,000 yards for Najee Harris. Not much out of Jaylen Warren. Receiving, George Pickens, just under 1,000 yards. Frymouth had a nice season, 600 yards, 7 touchdowns. Calvin Austin got all of, hey, he was a beneficiary of the deep ball from Russell Wilson. Jaylen Warren, as a dual threat, can kind of do it all. We have defensively over 100 tackles for Queen and Deshaun Elliott. Sack front, we got 19 TFLs, 11.5 sacks from TJ Watt. Decent. I think if that can kind of be his floor for this rebuild, that'd be ideal. 12 TFLs, 8 sacks for not better than Jalen Carter, but I'll say, hey, second-team All-Pro, sure, in Cameron Hayward. Highsmith battled injury all year, 9 TFLs, 6 sacks. Herbig with 5.5 sacks. We got some playmakers here, 5 picks, Dante Jackson, 4 from Beanie Bishop, who was actually the only player to go up a dev trait, which is huge. Have another young dev trait high ceiling player on this Steelers team. Philadelphia Eagles beat the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Hopefully that happens. Not just from a biased standpoint, but come on, someone has to beat them. But we get bad news. Cam Hayward has retired after 14 seasons. Is this something that like Steelers fans are fearful of, or like has he given everybody kind of the heads up that he's running it back for another year? Because that is like, can Nick Herbig gain 50 pounds and play that spot? Damn it. So we're in a pretty good spot in relation to our salary cap. Got a nice added bump after the retirement. So there's a little bit of silver lining of the great Cam Hayward. But look at how we want to handle our salary cap. Roberts, hidden dev, replaceable. Dan Moore, we're going with Broderick Jones at tackle. Justin Fields, looking for I would love if this be a 3-year deal. That's cheaper than this. But you know what? If he doesn't take this deal, I think maybe what's best for this team, because we have all that money, is a franchise tag him. Now it's $60 million. But I don't think we're going to be spending an insane amount of money this offseason. We'll get Dante Jackson back with his 5 picks. Mike Williams is always going to bounce. James Daniels is going to bounce. I do want to keep one of the running backs. Najee's 27, looking for $21 million. Jaylen Warren is 26, looking for 15. So I feel a little bit more inclined to pay Jaylen Warren here. We'll see if we get him on a 3-year deal until he's 29. Wow. Now, here's to say that we won't still try to go bring him back on the open market. But, wow. Okay. So we need, especially with that franchise tag, to trim the fat a little bit. And Cole Holcomb, solid linebacker, can rack up the tackles, but the fact that we could free up, $5 million. Yep. I'll say this. I'll pay Jaylen Warren again. Still 0 interest. Okay. Dude can play at that game. I'd rather Javonte Williams anyways. So we'll give Javonte Williams a 3-year, $14 million. He's kind of the best of both worlds. Catch the ball like Jaylen Warren, can run the power like Najee Harris, and he's going to cost multiple millions less. We're going to get my 2 targets for free agency. I want Javonte Williams. I'm going to look at Charles Omenihu on a 1-year rental. He's 28.76 with the dev trade. Makes a lot of big plays, clutch plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. But at 6'5", 280, like just fringe enough, I think, to be justified to play at least a 1-year Band-Aid situation as Cam Hayward's replacement. And we just very quickly got priced out there. So we definitely need to heavily consider a 3-4 defensive end with our first and or second round pick. But we do land Javonte Williams, our running back of the future. I think looking at the most recent mock drafts, let's see, mock draft 2 is the latest one we have, to give us an idea where they can go. And when we do like these start today, sometimes the mock drafts lie to you a little bit. But our targets, 3-4 defensive end, I think wide receiver. Those are the players in contention for that first pick. And I did fully scout Luther Burden. I've mocked him to the Steelers a couple times, but he is going currently top 10. He's a top 5 talent, so that would have been actually a home run pick at pick 7. Makes you wonder, is it worth trading up for a wide receiver? Jalen Walker there. Mika Ibuka's going 15, so there's a run on wide receiver. Mason Graham would be a stud for us. He's going 16. Kenneth Grant gone. Right now we're projecting Ashton Jetty. Much more. I mean, Walter Nolen makes sense. 6'4", 291, 5-star recruit. Definitely could step in and plug and play him at that Cam Hayward successor position. Deion Walker, another guy that could potentially, you drafted Deion Walker, and then you look at moving maybe Benton to one of the DN spots. Benton's a little bit of an undersized nose tackle. Evan Stewart at wide receivers in board. I did also scout Tyleek Williams from Ohio State, 6'3", 330. Didn't get great response. Man, I was really hoping. I'm fine with Walter Noel. I'll tell you right now. If he's still there, that's not a bad pick. But the fact like Mason Graham's fallen, I was really hoping, man, we could get a Luther Burden. But that is an expensive price to pay to trade up. This would just be out of curiosity thing. Because like that, in my mind, that was kind of the scenario. What would it cost for me to get Luther Burden? Well, it cost me Minka Fitzpatrick and a first and second round pick next year, or our 3 first-round picks, or 2 of my best players, or 2. Yes, it can't happen. There's no way. And this is life of a Steelers fan. I get it. I'm an Eagles fan. Abdul Carter, who's regarded as the best freaking pass rusher. He's a diehard Eagles fan. He's like begging for the Eagles to come draft him. Like there's 0% chance that we could get him. Welcome to being a good fan of a good team. So look at how the board. I mean, again, looking at just how it went. I think you could maybe make an argument that trading up till 16 to get Mason Graham, that probably would have been a little bit more cost efficient. But, I mean, that kind of goes in. It's a realistic reason. Is Mason Graham really going to fall to 16? Probably not. Looking at who's available, you have Genty, Malachi Starks, Jalen Walker as a pass rusher, Walter Nolen, Deion Walker. I think Nolen needs to be our pick. I mean, looking at the opposite, right? If we go wide receiver this round, so we look at the wide receiver, we can go Isaiah Bond, Speedster, Evan Stewart. We go with one of those guys right now. Who's going to be available to be that Cam Hayward successor come pick 50? Like, who's going to be still, like, it looks, and it's going to look pretty rough, all things considered, I think, when it comes to that selection. But if we get Walter Nolen now, the likelihood that whatever wide receiver is going to be available in the second round are going to be pretty decent. So that is what we're going to do. Walter Nolen, former 5-star recruit. I believe he was the #1 overall high school recruit his year. Stud. A&M, then transferred to Ole Miss because Ole Miss pays transfers maybe more than any other school. But we need to replace the great Cam Hayward, and we get Walter Nolen, number 22 in true value, selected at pick 21 with a dev trade. Let's go. Now we're on the clock here, and the second round of pick 21. Looking at the board, wide receivers went early. Evan Stewart, Isaiah Bond went first and second round. Again, just too expensive for me to want to trade up to any of those spots. Looking at how everyone, like Malachi Starks at 44, going to the Cowboys. We need to update the draft class a little bit because Drew Aller's not actually in this class. He'd be in the next one, but yada, yada, yada. Ashton Jetty somehow fell to 49. Yeah, right. Quinn Ewers just went off the board, so there was 2 potential opportunities there at getting a quarterback. Hell, even a Marion Hampton. If I decided not to go Javonte Williams, Marion Hampton would have been a home run pick. But luckily, he's not there, so we don't have to worry about that too much. Now we have the wide receivers that are remaining. It's kind of yuck. To be honest, I think at this spot, knowing we want to go wide receiver, let me make sure there's no other BPA. Because BPA could trump going wide receiver. We have Malachi Moore, Caleb John. I mean, there's not... thinking about what we need. Jackson Dart's still there. He was a quarterback that I put up on the old poll. David Bailey. Shout out to everyone that watched our Stanford, Andrew Luck saved Stanford rebuild on the weekend. Go check that out if you have for College Football 25. David Bailey was a freak for us. Very good. But I think, honestly, at this spot, we go with the best wide receiver available and see if we can add someone that can add some competition for that wide receiver 2 spot with Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson, and I think that is Trey Harris. Arguably one of the, maybe the second best SEC wide receiver after Luther Burden. 6'3", 210, B's and C's, ran a 4.34, looks pretty good, and will give some help to Justin Fields. And this should be a good pick for us. Number 28 in true value, getting that 53. No dev trait, which is a little bit of a bummer because that puts him right in line with Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin. But the potential is certainly there, especially we can force feed him some targets and get him to rise a dev trait. Going to the third round, I don't know how the Steelers sim in Madden 25. Like, I'm a little worried defensively because they're 3-4 and sometimes our pass rushers do nothing and can't really afford that with Watt and Highsmith to be like getting 5-6 sacks just because of the scheme. Same goes offensively. Like, do they use 2 running backs? Because they probably should if they're making an accurate playbook with Najee Harris and Warren. We only have 1 running back that's like legit on the roster. So Ollie Gordon, there's value there in the 3rd, 4th round. I mean, he went in as like the Heisman hopeful top running back into the last college football season. Didn't really work out that way. Oklahoma State struggled. I think we have a chance here for a good value pick. Number 71 in true value, getting him at 85. No dev trait, but I think much like Trey Harris, probably a pretty good rating. But take a look at our draft. Big class, man. Lot of players here. We got Dylan Gabriel's a backup quarterback. Howard Cross will be a defensive end, productive player for Notre Dame. Ollie Gordon, 72 in the 3rd round, normal dev, not brutal, good value, all things considered. Trey Harris in the 2nd round, 74, normal dev, not bad, good value. And then we got Walter Nolen, 1st round pick, 75 with a dev trait. Now this is a defensive tackle. What does he look like when we move him to right defensive end? That rating go up? It should go up. Love to see it go up. He goes from 75 down to a 70. Okay. Yep. That's our class. Wish the Jets would have traded their pick so we could have got Luther Burden, but all right. Justin Fields time. Let's see what he can do. Shout out to my sponsors at DraftKings. Football fans, things are getting real. Whether your team has made it to the conference championship or not, there's still plenty of ways to enjoy the games. Get in on the action right now with DraftKings Sportsbook. They are offering all new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5. Stay in on the action and use your $200 in bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same game. You love the thrill of live betting? Bet live on in-progress games right as they happen, making the game that much more exciting while you're watching them. DraftKings is an official partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet just $5 on anything and receive $200 in bonus bets instantly. If sports betting is not yet available in your state or province, don't worry. DraftKings is the one-stop shop for all things daily fantasy, where you can join in on all the fun and have the shot to win cash prizes. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use my promo code C4, bet just $5 on any wager, and get $200 back in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code C4 only at DraftKings Sportsbook. So here's a look at our Steelers team as we go into year 1 of this rebuild. Javonte Williams is our new starting running back. Trey Harris, our 2nd round pick out of Ole Miss. We're going to try him at wide receiver 2 with Calvin Austin in the slot. Hopefully that works itself out. I do maybe love the upside that this offensive line currently holds. Really, there is an absolute scenario where everyone outside of Sayamalu could be here in 5, 6, 7, however many years time it takes us to go on and win a Super Bowl. Defensively, working on it, man. The surprise retirement of Cam Hayward. You know, we're going to need Walter Nolen to step up, our 1st round pick out of Ole Miss. But still a lot of confidence in this defense, who's everyone returning. We have Beanie Bishop now with a dev trait, so there's a little bit more upside there. This defense should absolutely be a top 10 caliber defense. But the big takeaway is from training camp. Justin Fields got 2 skill points, so no pressure. There's no, they brought in Russell Wilson, they traded for me. Maybe that, hurt his morale a little bit, hurt his confidence. No, he is the guy. He got $60 million freaking dollars for us to figure out this year whether or not Justin Fields can develop into the quarterback that the Steelers need to go on to win a Super Bowl. And I think the easiest way to show that is to get a dev trade. Play well enough this season to get out that normal dev trade at 26 years old. Never too late. It's now or never. If he doesn't get the dev trade this year, he's probably going to have a very limited ceiling if we want to commit to him in future years. So you know what? We'll put the C on his chest. He's going to be the leader of this team, and we're going to go as far as Justin Fields will take us here in year 1 of this rebuild. The halfway point of year number 1, we are 5-3. So that means Justin Fields is 9-4 as a starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And when you look at how our team's playing, we have the 3rd best offense in terms of points per game, the number 1 rushing offense, and a top 10 overall defense. The bad news, and I already got a sneak peek at this, the contract demands from Justin Fields. Okay, put it this way, here's going to make it simple. TJ Watt has to get re-signed. So let's get TJ Watt locked in. Done. George Pickens, I've made a commitment, will also be signed. Honestly, let's get him on a 5-year. 5-year, $115 million for a guy that might be a 90 overall by the end of this season. I think you look at Sean Elliott, was kind of maybe up in the air if we'd resign him anyway. He's just getting close to that expiration. He's solid. 3 years. If that was a 2-year deal, maybe. Dante Jackson just came back on a 1-year rental coming off his big season last year. Justin Fields is looking for a 5-year, $150 million contract. Now we're winning. And this price is only going to go up. He wants more. I could probably get it for like 160. I gotta trust the poll. I gotta do what the people want to see. So that means, Calvin Austin, Sam Malo. I don't think we can afford to keep anybody else. We're gonna vastly overpay for Justin Fields and gamble that he can just find ways to continue to win. 5 years, $170 million. If you want to apply this to real life, it's just kind of like a situation that the Vikings and Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's gonna get a bag after what he did with the Vikings. Even if it's with the Vikings or with not, probably the way that it ended for the Vikings in real life, probably not. But that's pretty much what we just paid to Justin Fields. Hey, we'll make it work. I think we'll find a way to make it work. And I'm going to give to Sean Elliott. I actually went down to a 2-year deal, so we keep him for 28, 29, and his contract's up at 30 at the end of his prime, and we get him signed on as well. One last thing we have to worry about on the back end of the defense. So the Pittsburgh Steelers go 12-5 here in our first full season with Justin Fields as our starter. Defense is elite. Run game was elite. I like to think that while the passing yards aren't crazy, Justin Fields certainly has a part of that rush yards being that damn good. And we're able to buy a ticket to the playoffs. And let's be honest, we're not rebuilding the Pittsburgh Steelers understanding that we're going to, immediately be terrible and like a 5-6 win team and have we're expecting to constantly be a playoff team, and what the grand scheme of this rebuild is to find the missing pieces, to kind of put it all together for the Steelers, and to win a Super Bowl. And I guess now you almost got to say we're embracing the challenge of doing that with a gigantic contract, a very expensive Justin Fields on the book. I love seeing Javonte Williams there in the top 3 for rushers. The reason I'm just no webcam because I'm watching the national championship game on the other side. I don't want all the freaking lights and all that stuff on. So just for this season and probably this offseason. But then you go look at our stats here. Justin Fields, 3,400 yards, 24 touchdowns, 12 picks, 63% completion percentage. Ran enough. 3,800 yards and 27 touchdowns. We might be entering like a Jalen Hurts. And I'm kind of thinking like, just win. As long as you win and you're a quarterback capable of leading this team to wins, we'll be fine. I'm glad we drafted Ollie Gordon because clearly this was a scheme that was going to be able to utilize 2 running backs to a certain degree after losing both Najee Harris and Jalen Warren. So Ollie Gordon comes in, gets 9 touchdowns, but Javonte Williams, what a steal in free agency. It's another one, much like Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Joe Mixon, Josh Jacobs, where just unwanted, free agent, hits the open, goes to a new team and dominates. 1,400 yards and 13 touchdowns. I love seeing that for Javonte Williams. You want to see fun tape? Go watch Javonte Williams at North Carolina. Absolute monster. George Pickens led the team 79 catches, 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns. We got 1,000 yards and 6 tutties for Trey Harris. Love seeing that this is an offense that can facilitate 2,000-yard receivers, even though very disappointing numbers from Fryer at the tight end. Need him to pick it up a little bit there. Defensively, Patrick Queen led the team with 119 tackles, 4 TFLs, 3 sacks, 2 picks. We got TJ Watt playing like TJ Watt. 8 TFLs, 19 sacks. Love seeing that. 6 sacks from Heisman. Maybe a little low. Probably going to cost him his superstar dev. 4 TFLs there. We got 2.5 sacks on 11 TFLs for the first-round pick, Walter Nolen. Not too bad, but maybe get a little bit more well-roundedness to our pass rush. And in the secondary, Sean Elliott, happy we re-signed him on a 2-year deal. 5 picks for him, 4 for Porter, 4 for Jackson. Couple duos right there as well. Minka with only 1 interception. Come on, let's get a little more there. But ultimately, very, very happy with these numbers on the defensive side of the ball. TJ Watt wins Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, Trey Harris just misses out on Offensive Rookie of the Year. I thought he had that for a lock, going over 1,000. TJ Watt also wins Linebacker of the Year, at least securing the fact that there's almost no chance he will regress dev trait this season. But a bitter rivalry matchup here in the wild card on the road against the 13-4 Bengals, who are also very good. Top 5 offense, number 2 overall defense. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of want to see, you know, to justify the contract. Justin Fields gets a win here. I feel like, okay, maybe we can do something. Maybe we can achieve some magic. We lose here. Yes! Let's go! Hell yeah! Suck it, Bengals. 29-24. Justin Fields, I mean, hey, outduels Joe Burrow. Does have the pick, is what it is. But he was under a lot more pressure than Joe Burrow and got the win when it mattered. 200 yards. Look, we ran the football well. George Pickens does. George Pickens, we had a great 1-2 punch there. And on the defensive side of the ball, a couple TFLs. No sacks. Didn't need sacks. We were just the better team led by Justin Fields. On the division round, we got Harbaugh and the LA Chargers, 12-5. Kind of similarly built team, to be honest with you. I think we have the edge defensively. But they're good. There's going to be an ugly, old school, grindy, likely what team can run the football better type matchup. Damn it. I mean, we got the win. We got the playoff win. Unfortunately, this game here, defense did not do much. Justin Fields did not do much either, but the defense, I mean, equally bad. Fields and the defense. Damn. I mean, hey, one playoff win. We could build on that, I think. Chiefs end up winning the Super Bowl, so I mean, it doesn't really matter anyways. And as we cleared our lockers, wasn't really expecting any dev traits on the offensive side of the ball out of Javonte Williams, who is now a superstar running back. So we absolutely nailed that piece of business in free agency. Thought Harris, also going 1,000 yards for a rookie, probably should be good enough to get him off normal dev. Kind of is what it is. We also, on the defensive side, get Deshaun Elliott from star up to a superstar. And we just re-signed him on a really, really reasonable contract, so another good piece of business here from the Steelers. We still somehow have $100 million of salary cap. My plan here is actually to decline the fifth-year option on Broderick Jones and offer him a contract as soon as we can, like week 3 next season. Because I think, you know, definitely look like a tackle that could probably get into the mid-80s. And I'd rather lock that down to a very reasonable contract. And we're going to have to kind of do things like that because of Justin Fields' gigantic payday. As far as free agents is concerned, the big position I wanted to try to add was at that 3-4 defensive end spot to replace Larry Ogunjobi. And not really much there, so we'll have to look towards the draft. All right, so into the draft, we're going to pick it in the 20s, and I tried to kind of base my scouting around that. I got 2 DNs that could play 3-4 defensive end for us. And, of course, no hits. I also scouted corner because we are having an opening spot at corner, and it's Domani Jackson, former 5-star recruit from Alabama, not giving us great value. I think there honestly might be a scenario that trading out of the first round, is if we can recoup like a future first-round pick or something like that, that might be in our team's best interest. On the clock, I picked 27 of the first round of the 2026 NFL Draft. Jackson's still on the board. But, I mean, even looking at the stats, C-Man, Bizo, he looks solid, but I think, and then, you know, look at what secondary needs would be D lineman. And, of course, even the guys that we did scout that weren't great picks are off the board. There's no real, like, Overtune could be a little bit of a reach. Does have the profile at 6'5", 290, but D-power, F finesse, like, it's not really, you know, some guy that you're going to run up to the draft board and select. Now, Ernest Green's an interesting one because we could look at guard. We let Isaac Seumalo walk. B pass block. Don't know what his run block is between A and C. What's the bench press? Do you have a big bench press? It's not bad. It's not good. You know what? Okay, I'll say this. We'll see what kind of picks we can get. If not, we'll get the unsexy guard here. We're getting some outrageous offers. The Ravens are offering us a first and second round pick next year for pick 27. We get a first and second round pick from the Rams, which is maybe a little more believable because they hate picks. Or we have the Jets first rounder. I think we're going to try to make this as realistic as possible while still getting what we want. I don't think you're getting a 1-for-1 straight up here. So to sweeten the offer a little bit, we're going to throw in our 4th round pick this year and our 3rd round pick next year to get the Jets first round pick. Now, if we were a top 10-ish pick, top 10 pick, you're taking the farm, whatever you can get. But the fact that we are very much at the end of the first round, I'm trying to think what was the value that the Ravens gave to the Philadelphia Eagles to trade up to get Lamar Jackson. So I want that first round pick. I have a plan for what I think I could do with that first round pick. And I think this is fair compensation to be sent to the Jets. Who's to come in the second round? We got a Georgia Bulldog, usually a safe, reliable option to play next to our Georgia Bulldog in Broderick Jones. Dylan Fairchild, B pass block, B run block, decent enough bench press. Might not have a dev trait, could have a dev trait. Would be pretty cool if he did. Number 51 in true value, getting him a pick 59. Does have a dev trait. So the fact that we're able to have 2 first-round picks next year, and we still hit the position that I was going to draft if we kept that first-round pick. Outstanding business from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I want to grab a corner. Third round, we have Jacob Johnson, who was a projected first-round pick, just falling. C's across the board. Combine not so hot. And if we're just kind of looking at the letter grades here, which I'm trying to do, we got C-man, C-zone, C-press. Best alternative option is a player that I do like. Jordan Hancock from Ohio State. Don't know what that's... Oh, it's a little bit of a reach. I like the player a lot, though. He's one of my favorite players on the Ohio State defense. We'll see. 61 in true value at 91. No dev trait. But that's another outstanding pick. He might see the field as a rookie, honestly, because right now we got Joey Porter Jr., Beanie Bishop are like our starting 2 corners. He has a chance to be number 3. Ooh, late round steal. 6th round. We got Xavier Sori, just a depth linebacker. 64 in true value, getting at 187 with a dev trait, 88 speed, 88 acceleration. Nice little find right there to Arkansas. So take a look at our draft recap. Very happy with the players that we're able to pull in here. Just some Death Ooze, Payne, Sap, little Florida Gator bias right there. Didn't really work out. But sorry, 67 hidden dev in the 6th round's great value. Hancock, 72, likely will start for us. And then hitting on the 73 hidden dev, Dylan Fairchild will be a day 1 starter on that offensive line. Great business from the Pittsburgh Steelers. On top of picking up an additional first-round pick next year. Where if you're watching the national championship game, you might have an idea who we're going to be trying to draft. I got a plan. As I stated at the end of last year, we're week 2. And it's the earliest opportunity we have to throw some contract negotiations out. And, I mean, I don't want to say we've handicapped ourselves in the rebuild by paying Justin Fields, who, under almost any other condition, probably wouldn't have paid Justin Fields. But so many people want to see him in the rebuild, and I want to embrace the challenge of trying my best to make it work. There's very much a real possibility that it never works, and we're going to have to, potentially take a step back and find another quarterback. It kind of just is what it is. But we're going to try our best to make it work, and we're going to look first. So we got Broderick Jones. This is why we declined the 5th-year option, so I can get him on a 5-year deal. Very, very reasonable, and gamble that his best football is going to be ahead of him. Same here with Joey Porter Jr. Then we lock him on a 4-year, $37 million deal, keep him for the remainder of his prime, and we still have $100 million of salary cap. I think I'm going to try to trade Herdbig. I think that might be in the team's best interest. Beanie Bishop, if we can get him on like a 3-year 14 point. There we go. So there's a corner 2 locked in. I made a promise, throwing promises out here, that I would re-sign Minkah Fitzpatrick. I feel like a 4-year deal. Don't want to go much more year-wise. Sucks that he's not interested. So we'll come with a big offer, 4-year 86. Probably 88. Could get that one across the line. Patrick Queen, also very nice. But I think this is an area where we can get a little bit more affordable. And I'd rather pay where we don't have nearly as much strength on the defensive line at nose tackle. So $81 million. I think our plan should be try to see what kind of value we can get for Herbig on the trade market. And definitely got to re-sign Minkah. Use the trade offers. Usually it's just like a starting point. See what teams are interested and then maybe pivot off what they are offering. And it looks like the Chargers offering us Terrence Ferguson, a 4th and 7th round pick. Not overly interested in that, but I wonder if I just scrap everything else and say, hey, give me a 2028 3rd. There we go. Able to make that one happen. All right, into our 3rd negotiation period with Minkah Fitzpatrick. I'm gone up, literally, I just go up like $2 million each time. We'll go up 3 this time. 4-year, 92.5. There we go. Now, the tough decision to be made is with Patrick Queen, because he's only 27. So if I could get him on like a 3-year deal, what about something like this? Kind of take it or leave it. Need a bigger offer. So we have Patrick Queen with a 3-year, $50 million deal, and he would like to play for a new team next season. Probably franchise tagging a middle linebacker won't be brutal. I will consider that. The only hiccup is like the state of the roster. Peyton Wilson is like an older rookie. Still good, still fine. Got a rookie contract. We just drafted a hidden dev middle linebacker. Long ways to go. 16-point overall difference. And we're trying to be competitive. We're not trying to have like a little bit of a rebuild here or anything like that. So, I mean, I guess sorry at worst if like the franchise tag's too ridiculous. We have a young upside linebacker, and maybe we'll take the little bit of our ratings hit. But if like the franchise tag for Patrick Queen's like $15 million and we're not going to have a big free agency, it's probably going to be in our team's best interest to bring him back. About motivated Patrick Queen. We're coming off a loss, so we're 4-4. Not in a great spot. But Patrick Queen's like, oh yeah, contract negotiations. I'm just going to go ahead and have a player of the week performance because that price tag is going up. Yesterday's price is not today's price. We're 2-2 in our last 4 games, but our defense is having some standards. We just saw the Patrick Queen game a second ago. Then week 9, we lose to the Cowboys, but Highsmith with a 3-sack performance. Week 10, we beat the Titans and Watt with a 4-sack performance. So the defense is getting hot. Maybe not as hot as freaking J.J. McCarthy with 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, but happy with the defense. At the end of year 2, we go 10-7. We have a top 5 offense, top 15 in yards, number 1 rushing offense. Defense is solid, maybe a little below expectation, but we have the number 1 rushing defense in the league, and we missed the playoffs. So we keep Mike Tomlin's positive record alive, but we were the 8th seed, first team out in the AFC North. Yep. Chargers had a tiebreaker. They beat us in the regular season, so I'm not going to, there's not a lot of room for salty grapes there, if that is the tiebreaker. But look, we have George Pickens as the top 3 receiver. Javonte Williams was the 2nd most productive running back in the league. Justin Fields had a very nice campaign. 4,000 yards passing, 32 touchdowns to 14 picks. He also chipped in almost another 500 yards on the ground and 6 rushing touchdowns. So it's 4,500 yards, 38 touchdowns for Justin Fields, justifying the contract at minimum. And we won a lot of games. It's just one of those deals where kind of got screwed in the standings. Javonte Williams is outstanding. Like, what a free agent you get. 1,500 yards and 17 touchdowns. Ollie Gordon's chipping into in that Jaylen Warren role. George Pickens is a monster. Now, full disclosure, I do have him playing in the slot to kind of, this is an offense that if you are doing a Steelers rebuild, put your wide receiver 1, your George Pickens, in the slot to get good sim numbers. 1,500 yards, 14 touchdowns, 9-8 for Trey Harris, 6-6 for Freiermuth. That's better. Had a disappointing year last season. Wilson is a good role player. Defensively, Patrick Queen over 100 tackles. We got good sack numbers, 17.5 for Watt, 16.5 for Highsmith, 7 from Keanu Benton, 5.5 from Walter Nolen. TFLs are at a good spot, so happy with those numbers. Interceptions down a little bit from a year ago. Love seeing Hancock get 2 picks. Good confidence there for the rookie starter. But, I mean, there's not a lot to complain. This should be a playoff team. Our numbers, our box score stats, very happy with it. Just unfortunately, 10-7 is not good enough to make the playoffs this year. George Pickens comes 3rd place for Offensive Player of the Year, just losing out to the quarterback's bias. TJ Watt wins his 2nd Defensive Player of the Year of this rebuild. Highsmith in the top 3. Javonte Williams, as a superstar, wins Running Back of the Year, so the expectation that he could progress up to an X Factor is very real this offseason. I don't know about that, but George Pickens did have a good enough year statistically. He's on that star dev. Optimistic we'll get the superstar increase. And just dominating the linebacker award, Highsmith and Watt. Honestly, it would be cool if Highsmith won it because I'd like him to get, he's superstar dev. We can get 2 X Factor edge rushers. That'd be pretty huge for the defense. So take a look at the squad. We do get the dev trades. George Pickett goes from star to superstar. Javonte Williams goes from superstar to an X Factor. Justin Fields goes from normal up to a star dev. So things are looking great on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, as far as dev traits are concerned, Highsmith makes the jump from superstar up to an X Factor. Fortunately, no one else goes up or down dev trait. But honestly, sorry, not playing. Sometimes you see those rookies that don't play just lose their dev trait immediately. He keeps his. He's a 75 star. So again, puts a little bit of insurance in place if we can't figure out Patrick Queen's contract. So this is like probably the most convenient thing, but the pick that we got for the Jets is the first pick. We also have pick 18 from ourselves. Yeah. So now that we have the first pick, I think we're going to decline the 5th-year option on Fatano just because I want to get that contract extension underway. We have Patrick Queen. The franchise tag is $20 million. I think we don't. I think we go with 75 start effort Story. I think we get him on the field, and that year of development that he would get versus having Patrick Queen on a tag. Because I'm probably not going to pay Patrick Queen at 29 years old next offseason off a franchise tag. So I'm kind of thinking we go with the young buck here. Of course, Patrick Queen is the best free agent on the open market. Cool. Great. There's another free agent period. The only thing we need is help on the front. I need a 3-4 defensive end. It'd be so sweet to find one of those. And we're not. I mean, again, you could go nose tackle from Ozzie Smith and the move Keanu Benton to one of those defensive end spots. I'd rather not. We got Milton Williams like a rental. But then, we have 2 first-round picks. We have the number 1 overall pick, and we have a top 20 pick. I mean, not a great free agency period. I think we'll keep our money, roll it over until next year. I'm going to be honest. I'm thinking. You think I want to get rid of the first pick. I'm not going Arch Manning. I know my plan. I know who I want. But if I trade that first pick, that means the guy that I want is going to be gone. So we can't even win, even though we have the first pick. I mean, we win in the standpoint, like, I can pick whoever the hell I want, which is good. But in a perfect scenario, on top of the fact that we got the first overall pick from the Jets, who traded us for a late first rounder last year, unreal roll. And you know what I will say? If you go back and look at almost all of the first round pick trades that I've done, usually I'm getting screwed. I'm getting a pick of a future playoff team. I'm trading like a first rounder, and I'm getting a pick in the 20s. This might be the first time ever I've ever traded for a first round pick, and I get the first overall selection, which is incredibly rare. But I mean, the Jets are also not a very good team. They don't have a quarterback, so it did work. It was a great calculated gamble by us. But I can't min-max it. The only way I could is if the Jags want the first overall pick to get Arch Manning. But they don't. They got their quarterback. So we're just going to stay put and screw this mock trade up. Now, the other thing would be, well, what's it looking like at our other selection? We are picking at 18, and our need at this spot would be a 3-4 defensive end. So you got Williams and Winery going at 14 would be a good fit. Dylan Stewart's not really a scheme fit for what we're looking for. I mean, you got Bryce Young from Notre Dame. Hell, it might not even be in our team's best interest to grab a DN at that spot. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but I'm much more interested in what we can do with the first overall pick in the 2027 draft. So it is time, drum roll. Start the clock, pick 1. Now, my master plan was, my gamble, honestly, was the Jets were going to have a top 10 pick. They weren't going to, they're not a great team. So get the top 10 pick, and then our pick, I was expecting to go on a playoff run. So I'd be able to flip like pick 13 and 23 to move up within the top 5 to get the guy that we're about to get. Just watching the national championship game, I feel like, who's making the thumbnail? Who's making the thumbnail of this video? Do we have a guy on our roster? Is Justin Fields thumbnail worthy? Maybe. But he needs someone else alongside of him. And why not? It is time to cash in on, what are we going to call him? The greatest wide receiver prospect of X amount of years. How much more hyped is he than Jamar Chase? How much more hyped is he than Marvin Harrison Jr.? How much more hyped is he than whoever? A, B, C, D. It's right up there, man. Special player. Lock to be a top 5 pick whenever he does declare. Honestly, he reminds me of Andre Johnson. Andre Johnson, one of my favorite wide receivers of all time. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the pair with George Pickens, we're going to be able to now move Trey Harris around a little bit. There's another dynamic weapon. I think this could be a missing piece to put this passing offense over the hill. This is going to be another piece to maximize the limited pocket passing ability of Justin Fields. Jeremiah Smith, the greatest wide receiver prospect possible in a Madden realistic rebuild right now, because there is not a better wide receiver in college football. So, no disrespect to Ryan Williams at Alabama. He'll probably get his own rebuild at some point. He's very, very good. Wingo from Texas, very, very good. but there is no other Jeremiah Smith. He might be after Arch Manning. Like, if you're rating all the prospects, every single position, you're probably going Arch Manning at 1, Jeremiah Smith at 2, if everyone was draft eligible. And you might even put Jeremiah Smith at 1. I wouldn't hate that because we don't know what we have in Arch Manning. Arch Manning could still technically be a bust somehow. We know for a fact, as a true freshman, that Jeremiah Smith is arguably the most dominant player in college football. Number 1 in true value at pick 1. I hope it's an X factor. I thought about trading up, but ultimately we'll stay at our pick. 3-4 edge rusher. If we wanted to trade up, the only guy was Winery, and that's pick 11. And that would have been, an expensive trade up, all things considered. We stayed put at 18, and we look at the board. So the other position, we feel good at quarterback, feel good at running back, feel good at wide receiver, good at tight end. O-line is very nice. 3-4 defensive end. Well, we have Kenyatta Jackson, legal first name, but that's a reach. We have the other spot. Logan. Not schematic fits. Those guys would be stand-up edge rushers, not hand in the dirt. So you look at the D tackles, and we've scouted these guys before. There's not much there. Jordan Phillips out of Maryland, probably the best of the bunch, and even then you're reaching a little bit, getting a second, third round talent at pick 18. And the fact that we have scouting available at other positions. We got Sammy Brown at linebacker. He's a beast. That's a big-time athlete. But we have 2 starting kind of upsidey linebackers. I think the next position that could use a little TLC is at safety. Deshaun Elliott's already regressing. I think he's below it. He was an 82 2 years ago. I think he's a 79 now. So let's go some strong safeties. They're both going to be on the board, the top players. We have Ricardo Jones and Spears. I think the tiebreaker will take the best athlete. B zone coverage on Ricardo Jones. 4.5, honestly, not a particularly great combine. Or we have Deshaun Spears out of LSU, 6'2", 213, A tackle, B man, B hit power. Kind of slow. Neither one of these guys has a great combine. Okay, I think we might just have to then pivot to the best player on the board, which is likely Sammy Brown. 5-star. Let's do it. We'll panic because those didn't think the combines were going to be that rough on the strong safeties. So then we go, and because I think the thing that plays a part of this is, say we go to year 5 and we don't win the Super Bowl, right? Peyton Wilson will be like 31. He's an old rookie. So he's already, 27 years old, still on his rookie contract. So our stability long-term at linebacker is not the best. And the fact that Sammy Brown, a 5-star recruit, number 5 in true value at 18, I think that's the right call, especially with Patrick Queen leaving the building. In a perfect world, I would have been able to swing back around and grab that Maryland D tackle. That was a second, third round grade, but he is already off the board. I've drafted Jordan Hall a bunch. Still not ideal. The win is both the safeties are still available in the second round, and we know their talent. So I think Jones was a better athlete because we got solids, goods. He has elite agility. It's just kind of what you want because in the Spears guy's kind of like the hammer. Got better tackling, run support. I think the tiebreaker is the fact Spears is a scheme fit. I guess I'll use that as a tiebreaker. Not overly optimistic there'll be a dev trade here, but he's first, second round talent. The rating's not going to be too bad. And there's going to be immense value there for us. And he's number 49 in true value, getting him at pick 50, and he does actually roll the dev trade, so that's a nice win. So let's get a look at the draft recap. And that's the reason why people always say C4 show all the draft classes. I don't have a problem doing that once we get to the Madden generated classes, but I don't have any influence over the 2025, 2026, 2027 draft classes. I like to be surprised. I've never seen what Jeremiah Smith's rating is. I hope it's 80 plus, but I have no idea. It could be like high 70s for the rating scale. I feel like we had a really good haul of draft. And yeah, we put in work. We've got a 70 punter. We got some decent depth here. We got the big nose tackle, 97 strike nose tackle from Georgia, Jamal Jarrett, normal dev. Got a 3-4 defensive end here in Duro Jai from Florida State. But the big gets Deshaun Spears, 73 hidden dev strong safety. Might need to see the field sooner than later. Kind of slow, but fits the scheme. We can make it work around Minkah Fitzpatrick. We got Sammy Brown, which was a panic get. But I, had very high confidence he was going to be a pretty good player. And, kind of going with more of a blue chip sure thing to replace Patrick Queen than trying to develop Sorey as like a, 73 star dev linebacker. There's definitely upside there. But 73 dev trait versus 77 rookie with a dev trait, feel a little bit better. And then you just got the guy. The GOAT. Jeremiah Smith. 79. Couldn't give him an 80? Huh? 79 hidden dev. I think, obviously it's a while down the road. When Marvin Harrison Jr. was what? 78 X Factor? 80 X Factor? Something like that as a rookie. You might even get something higher. I think Jeremiah Smith likely will be an 80-plus overall rookie. But for the sake of this rebuild, he's going to walk in, be our wide receiver too. And I'm really excited. And honestly, I'm a little bit scared. Relative for this rebuild. What if it doesn't work? What if he doesn't do anything to the offense? It still goes through Pickens in the slot, and he's just a pedestrian 800-yard, 7-touchdown guy. Like, I'm just nervous that happens, that he goes off and gets like 1,200 yards with Pickens. You know what I'm saying? So we'll find out. So as you can see, Jeremiah Smith dominating in his first training camp. We said, hey, can you get a gold medal? He said, gold medal? What are we, an Olympian? I'll be a Michael Phelps, and I'll get you multiple gold medals. And I'll win every way. You don't have to just run the cheesy way. I'll get open, and I'll make plays. And optimism hasn't been this high since they had, like, Santonio Holmes and Mike Wallace and Antonio Brown and Big Ben and Levy. All those guys. This offense might be better and more hyped with the expectations we have. With the addition of Jeremiah Smith. Oh, let's go! Okay, I mean, that also means Jeremiah Smith was only a superstar dev. Sick. I've never had this. Not only do I get the one pick from the Jets, I get gold medal and this might be my second dev trade increase all freaking Madden 25. And we get it on a generational prospect that probably shouldn't have needed it anyways. I think we got to do this. I think we got to put him in the slot, and we'll see if George Pickens, as a 91 superstar on the outside, can fly on his own without the, because, come on. We got to do this, right? Yeah, we do. So we have the NFL debut of the most hyped wide receiver, maybe of all time, at home against the Seattle Seahawks. Let's throw him a couple deep balls here out of the slot. Oh, okay. Not only is Jeremiah Smith most deep, but it should correlate to George Pickens having more of a better time. Get a better ball there. Okay, he's got to wait. You got to wait a little bit. We'll just take the check down to Frymouth. Oh, here we go. Fire it up quick. See if he makes some guys miss. Get a touchdown. Boom! Fights. Stupid. Probably should just run this in. But we're desperate. And there we go. Game 1. Drive 1. Touchdown 1. For number 4, Jeremiah Smith. Damn it. Like a lot getting locked in trying to force. And it's Nick Herbig, who we let walk. Well, we traded him and then I guess I let him walk. Try this again. Win on the outside. I'm going to fade it right to you. Let's go. Beast! What a dot by Justin Fields. Can he win downfield? Oh my God, instant. Mulligan. God damn it, man. Relentless pass rush from the Seahawks. Go throw a little anticipation. There we go, Jeremiah Smith. Anytime they put Julian Love on him, we got to dial up number 4. God, dude. This is absolutely insane amount of pressure that we've been under. Trying to feature my passing offense And Seattle's like, psych! We're going to make you look like an absolute idiot. Williams Winery, guy that we talked about targeting. Luckily, our defense bails us out. Maybe George Pickens let him know? Maybe George Pickens let him know? Big grab. Like to get cute here, but maybe we let Javonte Williams finish this off. He's been one of the best running backs in the league for the past 3 seasons. And with that score, gets the Steelers a lead, and our defense gets a stop. Let's put this game away with points here. Sick. Underthrown doesn't matter. Puts him over 100 on the day. 2 touchdowns to boot. See if we can get him a hat trick. Well, George, let's go, George Pickens. I need them both operating. I need Jeremiah Smith, George Pickens to get 1,000. I need Trey Harris to get 800. I need 700 from Freiermuth. We need all these guys. And then we need Javonte Williams to keep playing like a top 10 running back. Top 5 running back even. I think we got special things in store. Justin Fields, awesome on the day. 3 touchdowns, 300 yards, out-dueling Quinn Ewers and the Seattle Seahawks. But more importantly, I mean, both these quarterbacks were pretty much perfect. Justin Fields scrambled. But look at Jeremiah Smith. Boom. Battle of the Ohio State wide receivers. Ours is better. Unfortunately, we lose to the Chicago Bears. Second game to go 1-1. Close loss, 1-point loss. But anytime I decline a 5th-year option, as soon as I can negotiate, I want to do so. And I mean, we got 2 players here that got to get paid. We got Zach Frazier. Let's lock him in. 4-year deal. Boom. But we got Troy Fatano, who we did not pick up his 5th-year option at right tackle. Like another guy, you just got to bite the bullet, pay the lineman. He wants a little bit more. I don't think we're that far apart. I think we can make it happen. I think McCormick's probably replaceable. Serviceable, great value with what we got, but he's 27. And now that we're into, you know, the generated classes, I feel like I can replace him. We already have Deshaun Elliott's replacement. We have Peyton Wilson. Maybe Wilson's the guy that gets surplus, right? Maybe we have Sori on the rookie deal. And Sammy Brown, who we just drafted, player linebacker. I think that that's likely the direction we should go because we got to throw out money here. Highsmith has earned another contract. He's been incredible. And honestly, I think this is a contract I didn't expect to give up, but Javonte Williams has been insane in this system. And 2 positions you can't really, there's 3 positions that generally you don't want to pay. You'd rather get good, affordable rookie play. Running back, linebacker, and safety. We have expensive safeties. We now have an expensive running back. The linebackers kind of need to get the short end of the change. And even then, short end, I just used a 1st-round pick on a linebacker, which is faux pas enough. And we get Furtado, 4-year, $94 million deal. Done. But mid-season, we're 5-3, so we're starting to get this thing rolling. Starting to have the 91 overall offense, play like a 91 overall offense. But we get a double win in the division, 24-10 over the Browns. And it's our rookie, our 2nd-round pick, Spears, getting a Defensive Player of the Week performance. Love seeing that out of the young gun. At the end of year number 3, we go 11-6, and at least we make the playoffs this year. All of our records, we're keeping the Mike Tomlin above 500 streak alive. Our offense, you know, a little bit better. It's definitely a little bit better. Passing offense, a little bit better. Rushing offense, defense, still playing at a high level. But man, oh man, we are not really gaining much ground on winning our first AFC North title of the rebuild. But 11-6, 5 seed of the AFC. Got an electrifying rookie. Things, you know, it's going all right. I guess my concern could potentially be, you know, Justin Fields reaching his ceiling soon. In terms of development, like, what is he, 27? Like, 28, dude. Like, yeah, we got to play like an 87. His confidence is very high, but, like, we probably got next year, and then after next year, it's going to be likely a slow downhill trend for Justin Fields. So I think, you know, this year's year 3, next year 4. Those are probably like our prime. If we're going to win with Justin Fields, it might happen during that time. But hey, good year there. 32 touchdowns, 6 picks, 4,100 yards. Good rushing numbers of the hell of a 1-2 puncher between Javonte Williams and Ollie Gordon. Receiving, we get 82 catches, 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns for the rookie Jeremiah Smith. 11-7 from Pickens, 8-3 from Harris. I mean, honestly, if we had like a little bit more in the touchdown department, I feel like from a yard standpoint, really happy with that. Defensively, Sammy Brown, the rookie, takes over as our linebacker tackle machine. We get 18 sacks from TJ Watt, 6.5 from Benton, 6 from Highsmith. That is regression. That kind of sinks. 14 TFLs, 4.5 sacks from Walter Nolen. Minka Fitzpatrick leads the team with 4 interceptions. kind of a mixed bag defensively. Jeremiah Smith runs away with Offensive Rookie of the Year. That is our lone piece of hardware this season, as now we have to shift all of our focus to the playoffs. We're at the 11-6 Colts, number 2 offense in the league, top 5 passing offense, top 10 rushing. Defensively, got a good job at stopping the run, but they're the worst. Got to be the worst playoff team in terms of passing defense. And we got George Pickens. We got Jeremiah Smith. It could be a nice matchup. And there we go. Why? We'll take a 1-point win. Hell yeah, 24-23. Our second playoff win of the rebuild. And we needed that after last year, maybe unfairly missing out on the playoffs. An overtime thriller. 3 touchdowns, 1 pick for Justin Fields. Ran the ball fairly well. George Pickens, hell yeah. Defensively, look at that, dude. Look at the TFLs. Look at the sacks. Complimentary football. With that, we get to take on a team that has been very dominant in this rebuild, unfortunately, because we are within the same division. But the Baltimore Ravens have been excellent. And this is going to be quite the hurdle for us to jump. But if not, I mean, I would say next year is probably going to be the tippity top of where our team's going to be. But this year's pretty damn close, and we are a field goal difference away from featuring in the AFC Championship game. There's no Kansas City. This would have been a hell of a year to go on a run. But we fall. Man, look at that, too. Garbage time. You know, you can interpret that as 24 unanswered for Baltimore to win. Damn. I mean, we ran the football well. Pickens did not have a particularly great game. Jeremiah, I mean, they shut us down. Our big dogs could not eat. We got 0 sacks from Highsmith and Watt. I mean, very easy to see why we lost. Those bastards go on and win the goddamn thing. As far as depth traits are concerned, we clear our lockers here at the end of year 3. Expectations was, you know, not really expected. Maybe it would have been cool to get George Pickens up superstar. I don't know, man. Kind of feel like 27's a little early for him to start regressing and losing just dev traits all willy-nilly. But I mean, it is what it is. On the defensive side, dev trade wise, pass rushes keep it. Brown, solid. Benton, Nolen. All right. Cool. So just to recap, we are letting Mason McCormick walk, so we need to find a right guard replacement. We have our Deshaun Elliott successor. We have our Peyton Willis successor. And I think we are, and it's worked out well for us, we're going to decline the 5th-year option for Walter Nolen so we can give him a contract extension early next year. For free agency, very interested to see Terry Arnold available. I mean, you go spend a lot of money and get Quinyon Mitchell, but I mean, that's an E-League shutdown, put me on an island corner. Someone like Terry Arnold from the same class. Not as good, but 26-81. We can use another third corner, a little bit more upside than what we currently have in that corner room. That's a nice piece of business. All right, so now that we're in the wild world of the Madden generated draft class, we need to, we got to make sure we hit. We need a guard and a 3-4 defensive end. So the guards, well, we scouted the top one here in James Morrison, because I got to figure out where we're going to go with the first round. He looks solid. First, second round talent. He had B pass block, C run block, which is not the best. You'd love to see an A. McCormick looks like he could be solid for a little bit later of a price. You know, or we got like Klein has an A pass block. I have seen in the comments people have, ooh, look at this guy. Donis Hilton, when's he going? Yeah, probably not going to be their second. People complaining a little bit, realistic rebuilds that I usually grab. Like, I'd get a 6. My threshold was like, if you're 6'5", 310 plus, I can play you at tackle. People get a little upset with that. So, you know what? I'm from here on out, I'm going to try and withstand from doing that. I'll draft a guard to be a guard and a tackle to be a tackle, unless I'm utterly desperate. So the guard market doesn't look the best. Pass rush market, ooh, got Connor Means. I didn't focus scout him, but at 6'4", 300 pounds, is a scheme fit with B power move. He looks fairly solid if he's still going to be on the board. But yeah, we scouted 2 dudes. Now Whitfield is not the true. I mean, that's like fringe. 6'6", 275. Believable. Not too often too do you get a round 2-3 projected player. That's that. whatever. Ramon Font from Alabama. Could be fan. I like Font. Sounds a little fancier. He looks good too. Elite strength. Actually a scheme fit. I think it's a good problem to have. To have two potential options there. Let's see who's going to be available. Oh no, Fat just went. He was going to go in the second round. I mean, maybe it makes the decision a little bit easier for us. We'll go with the tweener. Trust the guy that we scouted, Jonathan Whitfield. Not a bad, like, B option. A power move. Decent size. Ran a 4.61. So we have almost a guy that ran a, almost, you know, he didn't, but he almost, saying a 4.5 speed at 6'6", 275. I mean, at minimum. And he's a power move. I'm going to say dev trait off of the athletic traits. And he's number 19 in true value. You're going to pick 26. Oh, normal dev trait. Damn. Damn. Heading into the second round, we got to go interior lineman. And we still got James Morrison. What about the right guard? Is he still there? No. All right, we'll go Morrison. I ain't mad at it. Double B's. What's the bench press? It could be better. Maybe no dev trait. I'm thinking at worst, decent rating, no dev trait. At best, decent rating with dev trait. Good hit. Hey, watch, something caught my eye here. My board shot. But I think we got a generational player. Now, I'm not over the moon because it is what it is. But we have Mr. Gregory Toon. A awareness. A kick accuracy. Elite power. Elite acceleration, agility, and strength. Yep. I'm going to guess he's probably top 5 overall player of the class. And he's the number 1 player in the class. Looking at our draft recap, pretty happy with the... Oh, 81 punter. I mean, it's a punter, but pretty cool. Pretty cool to hit that. Would be a good depth. You know, high 60s, corners, wide receiver, running back. Lowry, we got a 94 strength D tackle here. Morrison, 73 with the hidden dev, is going to be a day 1 starter. Then we got Whitfield, who hopefully, you know, hey, he looks good. That's an outstanding. If he had a dev trait, we'd be like saying we got the steal. An all-time type steal. Now, I am a little curious. Was it the Bengals that stole him from us? No. I gotta go look at the other guy. Fant. Thought he for sure that was gonna be an absolute layup. He goes to the Colts. 74, so he's lower rated. But he does have a dev trait, and he is technically a better scheme fit for our front 3. Damn. We start out year 4 outstanding. 2 divisional wins. 1 against the Ravens, who have kind of been the juggernauts of the AFC North. So that's a very, very hot start. But now is our earliest period that we can talk about contracts. We have been very, very selective when it comes to paying players in free agency because I want to retain my own talent. Unfortunately, might be the end of Boz. I'd like to see him retire. Maybe hang him up, 38. That's a good age for a kicker. But looking at players that need to get re-signed, we have Ollie Gordon. I'm not going to lie. I was kind of thinking about keeping him. Just in case, like, what if this rebuild goes to year 7 or 8? He's still going to be good when Javonte Williams ain't. So actually, I do think maybe give Ollie Gordon like a 3-year deal. Don't worry about it. We're not, you know, not even really going to feel that in the salary cap. Now, we have Trey Harris. I think the argument can be made not to pay a 3rd wide receiver because we have Jeremiah Smith and George Pickens. We got to pay Mr. Watt first, so we'll get him till he's 35. Need more time to think it over, what? That was a green bar, sir. You were supposed to take whatever slop offer I throw your way. We have Freiermuth. We have Walter Nolen. So I declined the 5th-year option on Walter Nolen because we wanted to re-sign him long-term, and we're going to give him a 5-year deal. Tough decisions. Fact of the matter is, Pat Freiermuth has not really thrived in our system. He's never really had a year that's going to justify that contract. I know he's a good player, but, you know, look at what he's done in this rebuild. 3-0, 6-6, not bad. 5-2. Not on a particularly hot pace here, even though, I mean, actually, I kind of need to take that back. He's averaging 60, but it's only 2 games. That's probably going to kind of fall down there. Now, if he does have a career year, maybe we'll have a tough decision to talk about at the end of the season. But I think we definitely pay TJ Watt maybe come back for, I mean, what's that looking for? Like $6-7 million a year for a wide receiver 3. I feel like with Pickens and Smith, that's kind of just surplus at the moment. Like I probably could draft a wide receiver in like the 2nd or 3rd round next year, maybe like a fast speedster, a burner, something maybe that complements what we have in Pickens and Smith, and just kind of get by on a rookie contract. So I think that's probably going to be in our best interest. We'll pay TJ Watt and likely move on from Harris and Freiermuth. I threw about another $1 million his way. TJ Watt will retire a Pittsburgh Steeler. Ooh, big dogs, dude. 15-2. Took a little bit. I mean, we've never been bad. 10-7, 12-5, 10-7, 11-6. But I do feel like a turning point was when we went 10-7. Did not make the playoffs. Can't take anything for granted. Got to put up teams in the dirt when you got them, because you might not still make the playoffs, especially with how competitive the AFC North can be. The Ravens are big-time ballers. The Bengals have always been tough. Cleveland, well, they got Myles Garrett, I guess. But 15-2. First AFC North championship of the rebuild. We are the 1 seed, so that is added pressure. But look at the ranks. Top 10 offensively, top 10 passing, number 3 rushing, number 2 overall defense. Legit. Webcam is blocking a receiver. I bet you that yellow is for one of us. But take a look at Justin Fields. I mean, he's kind of aging like a fine wine. He's playing better. 40, 200 yards passing, 36 touchdowns to 10 picks, 72% completion percentage. Also chipping in with another 355 and 4. So, give him, 4,500 yards, 40 total touchdowns. I'm not going to lie, didn't know that was going to ever be possible with Justin Fields here. But underrated offense. I'm liking the Steelers' offense and defense, jotting it down. We found out through these rebuilds that Green Bay was a juggernaut. I ain't mad with Pittsburgh. Like, if we're in another rebuild and we fire the OC and I see someone with the Steelers' offense, I'm going to be a little bit optimistic. I love the fact that we've had 2 running backs. We re-signed Ollie Gordon for a reason that are both contributing. On a receiving standpoint, Jeremiah Smith is a freak. 97 catches, 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns. Yep, we got 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns for Pickens, 7 and 5 from Trey Harris. And I think we're justified in not paying Pat Freiermuth. Now, I did set my focus scouting this year to tight ends, so hopefully we can find something there that's going to help us out. If not, might have to blind pick. Tight ends are a little difficult to try to blind pick. Maybe we'll get a good role of like an elite strength, a run block cheese. Ageless wonder, TJ Watt, man. 16 TFLs, 18 sacks. Not slowing down anytime Smith. 9.5 for Highsmith. Good. 5 from Nolen. Probably not justifying the contract we just gave him, to be honest with you. But he is here because he's going to be here long after Highsmith and Watt retire or regress. So we're kind of future-proofing our pass rush with Nolen, and they're different roles. Benton with a solid year. Whitfield, the rookie. Well, I did have a dev trait, and he's likely not going to get Defensive Rookie of the Year to get one. Interception numbers, not bad across the board. No ball hawk. Wow, Justin Fields makes the MVP shortlist for the first time. Mike Tomlin should be Coach of the Year. Yep. And our only award winner is TJ Watt for Linebacker of the Year. Highsmith this year. I thought for sure we were going to cakewalk to Wide Receiver of the Year, but Josh Downs having a hell of a campaign. I guess Tank Dell did as well. After our first round bye, we await surprising to see them there, to be honest with you, but they got the offense rocking and rolling. Josh Downs is killing it. Anthony Richardson is killing it. So it's a tough one. Don't want to be one and done. Don't want to pull a Dallas Cowboys. At minimum this season, be the 1 seed you want to make the championship game. And we're able to. Wasn't pretty. Was close. Hard-fought battle. 27-24. We will take it. And what a matchup for the Super Bowl on the line. Has it ever happened? That's got to have happened, right? Ravens Steelers at some point during the last 20 years for the Super Bowl. I could be tripping. Maybe there's an obvious one. Obviously, I'm not a diehard of either one of those teams. But for this one here, Justin Fields, almost 300 yards passing and a touchdown. Did his job. Ran the ball decently well. Pickens, Freiermuth, if what could be his final run with the Steelers, likely will be with Freiermuth. Happy that he's having some big-time games. Defensively, Sorey with 10 tackles. You got a sack from Ben. Got a pick from the linebacker, Sammy Brown. And just like that. Okay. Chiefs got thumped. There's no Cowboys or Eagles on the other side. It's good roll. Got to capitalize. We will show respect to the Ravens. We'll auto-upgrade our players to make sure we have the strongest possible lineup. Jeremiah Smith, Zach Frazier, Ollie Gordon, all those guys. Contributors on the offensive side of the ball. Looking at the Baltimore Ravens, they have a top 10 offense, top 5 defense. But you look at our rankings, we are a better team this year. But can Justin Fields outduel Lamar Jackson to go to a Super Bowl here in year 4? We don't know. Well, I had a player of the week. Let's watch player of the week and see if we can guess if we won or not. Okay, if we have offense, now it's not always. Could be a good reaction here. If we get offensive and defensive player of the week, and our defensive player is 2 picks, that means Lamar Jackson did have a good game, and we didn't turn the ball over. If we lost, if you have kids around, plug your ears, because I'm going to say some not great things. Holy, we barely won. No, hey, what's a win? Barely win, like, you know. Seagull, that's the reason with Eagles fans right now. We're like, oh, we're not winning with style points, and oh, Jalen Hurts is this and that. We're winning. That's all that matters. And look at that one. I mean, I'd hate to say, I'm a Lamar Jackson. I've been everyone knows. You watch my content for any length of time. Big time Lamar Jackson fan. One of my favorite players in the league. But he's fraudulent in the playoffs, and it continues here. That is not a good game when Justin Fields is having a good game. Couldn't really run the ball a whole lot. Pickens, Jeremiah Smith with tutties. Defensively, look at that. 3 TF. Look at this. Couldn't get it going. Every time Lamar tried to take off, we did not let him take this game over. 2 picks for Joey Porter Jr. And just like that, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in the Super Bowl year 4 of a minimum of 5, maximum of 10-year rebuild. All right, well, it's only year 4. It's not year 5. Year 5 is when I like to get a little handsy. So I think we'll just grab a front row seat to this one, see if we can get our Super Bowl. And then if we do, we will have a lot of fun with next year if we can come back and repeat. We are the favorites, but Green Bay, that's a well-built team. 88 overall. Anytime you go up against a true sim-built team in a rebuild like this, and they're flirting with 90s, you know they got a lot of talent. And they're just well-rounded. Nothing necessarily super elite outside their rushing yards. But, I mean, you got Xavier McKinney, you got Jordan Love going over 4,000 yards. You got Edgerrin Cooper's developed into a really nice linebacker. Should be a tough matchup, but definitely going to this one with the Steelers as the favorites on paper. Regardless of what happens, I'm very proud of the challenge that we embraced by Justin Fields. Because as soon as we like franchise tagged him for $60 million, and then the next year, after not playing particularly well, we gave him like what, a 3-year, 150 some, like nothing about how we handled the financials of Justin Fields and what we paid was smart. But it was what you guys wanted to see, that were Steeler fans that voted. And I was like, all right, I'm going to embrace this challenge. We'll give him a second chance. And the fact that we are here at a Super Bowl, win, lose, or draw, if we never get back here again, the fact that we've been able to at least go on a run, a 15-2 regular season with Justin Fields, I'm happy with that. We've embraced the challenge, team building, and we might be able to get this one done. Fields versus Jordan Love, 7-7. We do not want this game to turn into a shootout, I don't think. We're going to want our defense. I know for a fact our defense is better than theirs, so they need to keep them under 28 points. We're motoring. 21-21. Instant score by Green Bay, but we're marching right down. Come on. There we go. 28-28. 3-16. Kansas defense. The Watts. They get it. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do play-by-play. Let's watch it play. Single. First play. 12 yards. Freiermuth. Could be his last game as a Steeler. Second play. First and 10. Incomplete. Third. Oh, okay, that's not good. This is likely going to be a punt, and they're going to score and win. Oh. No. Not happening. Not happening on my watch. You are not punting it with a minute to go. We need the Men in Black pen. What just happened didn't happen. Look at the red light. At least get him out of field. Oh my God, out of field goal range. That's the least I could do. It's the least I could do. Okay, let's try this again. I think it's going to go to overtime. At least that didn't cost us. We'll get a sack. All right, so they kick off. First play, nothing much. But there we go. There's a gainer. Jeremiah Smith, 22 yards. Another big shot. Trey Harris, 16 yards. His final hurrah with the team. Can't afford to bring him back. Then we go run Javante. I'm not liking the runs. When we pass it, good things happen. George Pickett, so we're featuring everybody. I'm going to call it right now. Ollie Gordon touchdown. If we get one. PBU. 3rd and inches to George Pickens. 4th and 1. This better be going. If it's going for it, we're simming it. Okay, they're going for it. And we get a Justin Fields 4-yard run. Come on. Punch it in. 8 yards. Goal to go. Touchdown, Steelers. Trey Harris. 2 yards. In overtime. Pressure is on Green Bay. And hopefully they don't go for 2. 1st and 10. All right. Josh Jacobs. 2nd and 5. Got a first down. Thanks for turnover of some sort. Yes! Three 3-0 playoff run. Super Bowl victory for Mike Tomlin. Back on top of the AFC. I got to see what happened there. Who got it? I'd love to see like a TJ Watt sack fumble. But Justin Fields, at one point in time, when we paid him that contract, the maybe the most overrated, what people say was the worst contract in NFL history. How are you giving still a project quarterback at 26 years old that kind of money? And I say, that's what the people want to see. Let's go. Defense that we need to step up, still gave up 4 touchdowns. But Justin Fields, let's see first of all what happened there. Is that it? Interception. Joey Porter had 2 picks a week ago. Legacy player. I mean, probably going to give him MVP, right? I mean, Justin Fields, 3 touchdowns. Justin Fields gets MVP. 4 touchdowns, no turnovers, 300 yards. And I'm sure he'd have no problem at all sharing that with Joey Porter Jr. Well, let's go, which means we got 1 more year left of this. We're able to try to turn it to a little bit of a dynasty and win back-to-back Super Bowls. And hey, the Great Boz goes out on top with a Super Bowl after 15 years. Let's go. Love seeing that. As for the rosters, we clear things out. No dev trade for Fields or Pickens, but Morrison. Ooh. Superstar dev lineman. Love seeing that. Rare, but when it happens, it's awesome because dev traits, unless you get the 1 O-Lineman of the Year award, you ain't going up. You ain't developing there. So that is huge on the O-line there. That was great that we inherited that offensive line. On the defensive side, no dev traits up or down on anybody. Fine. I'll take that because at least no one regressed, especially with Watt and Highsmith and Minka not getting any younger. I'll say this. Now that we know we only got to go 1 more year, let's keep the band together, if they will. Frymouth, we'll get him on a 1 year or whatever, just for 1. That's all we have is 1 year. We have Trey Harris, who we drafted. Stick around. Sure, we got 1 more year left. Let's run it back. Is anybody else? Nope, we're good. Ideally, though, we'll find someone on free agency we can spend the rest of that 20 mil. And we got our big free agency signing, bringing in Dicker the Kicker to replace Boz. I got my focus scouting in. It doesn't really matter a whole lot now. But you'd like to still finish the next pick. We got Zach Middleton. I did set my focus on tight end and wide receiver because I thought we were going to lose both Frymouth and Trey Harris. And Middleton looks legit. We could still always have a second tight end. Or there was a freak wide receiver that we scouted. And it's not Gordon who ran a 4.24. Dion Gordon. But when I was like, all right, let's just casually look at the 40 times, okay? 4.24, pretty fast. Going, 6 feet, 195. Ran a 4.36. Look at this guy. 6'4", 225. Running a 4.37, 4.32. Elite jumping. And he has 8 catching. I want you. You are, yes, join my team. I want him, and the Colts want him. I'm getting that pick. I got to see what this guy looks like under the hood. I'm going to make some magic happen as long as he falls to that Colts pick. I give them my 1st and 2nd round pick this year because we just need to make 1. Our team is complete. There's not a single player that we can draft that would play. We just want to kind of go after the fun player. I think it'd be kind of fun pairing like DK Metcalf with Jeremiah Smith and George Pickens. So it looks like the board followed as expected, and we're going to be able to select with pick 25 in the first round, Paul Barkley, 6'4", 226 out of Michigan, first, second round talent, A, catching traffic, A, catching, B, release, 4.3 speed, best elite vertical jump. He's a powerhouse. Please be fun. Don't be wet fart normal dev. 72, 73. Be a freak. Be a baller. Number 49 in true value, getting him at 25. I'll take that. Oh, that's that weird acceleration in comparison to the rest of him athletically. But 93 change of direction, 93 jumping, 93 speed. He looked pretty good. Now, because it's our final draft, we got a nice little 75. Vernon Phillips in the 4th round to continue adding depth. Because I'm going to look at his depth chart. I'm going to sneak a peek. Just because if it's crazy, let's play him. If it's just modest, we'll he'll be our wide receiver 4. The Paul Barkley, 74 hidden dev. Looks incredible. How incredible is it? If he's just star, then he's just a great developmental player. If it's something crazy, it's just a star. Okay, nothing crazy. Not going to rush him in the lineup. Not going to have to feature him. Looking at the rest of this draft. Ooh, I'll tell you this. Very, very rare. Whoa. I was about to say, very rare to see a tackle that's this good slip to the 2nd round. And if they do, they usually have dog shit strength. He has 92. Caleb Vaughn Smith. That is a god roll for the 49ers. So we're now here for year number 5, trying to run it back and defend our Super Bowl championship. Luckily, we're able to add a big-time wide receiver. We're able to re-sign Trey Harris and Pat Freiermuth because we know that this is going to be the final hurrah. So our team has very little turnover, which is not usually the case after you win a Super Bowl. The O-line is elite. Justin Fields has figured it out. Javonte Williams, what a free agency signing. And the fact that we got Jeremiah Smith and George Pickens. Maybe we'll do the right thing, make wide receiver 1, because very good. And should hit and join the 99 club this season. I think another thing that's been incredible is TJ Watt and Highsmith have defied all odds and not lost depth trait. It almost happens regardless of production, and they have managed to avoid all that. This is a defense with no real weakness. Joey Porter Jr., 3 interceptions. En route to a Super Bowl last year. He's ready to run it back. We got Terrion Arnold, makes a bunch of plays. Beanie Bishop, Nolen, Benton. We got dudes. And we're going to run this one back. 15-2 last season. I'm expecting at least 13 wins minimum. It's been a good season. I just see what... And we're 2-5. What? Ravens are tough, but you absolutely got to beat the Titans. You absolutely got to beat the Patriots. Vikings can be tough. Beat them. Lost to the Ravens twice. That can happen. Probably should beat the Bears. Yeah. 15-2 last year, huh? What? So the Mike Tomlin above 500 streak ends after we're defending Super Bowl champion. Nothing changed. Not one thing changed. We ran it back. Literally went out of my way just to say, screw it, let's bring back the guys that we could lose off this Super Bowl team. And we get 4 wins. '99 Jeremiah Smith. Not a weakness on offense. Not a single weakness on defense. This makes no sense. Our rankings, like it's inversed. Everything is opposite. What the fuck? Look at the stats. Justin Fields, like 1,000 less yards, 10 less touchdowns. Our run game was roughly the same. We've been averaging 2,000-yard receivers. We don't get that. Defensively, not brutal numbers. I think the sacks are about the same. Interceptions are roughly the same. What? Playbooks are the exact same. Literally the only thing that happened, if I had to say something that changed, and I've never seen this affect anything, is after you win the Super Bowl, your OC and DC usually get poached, so you got to go replace them. And that's the only thing I did. And I still replaced him with quarterback guru and, you know, the Bills guy that's usually sometimes available. That's the only thing that changed, is my OC and DC got poached, and then in the Sims, just like, oh, you're going to be dog shit? That is unbelievable. Look at the crew stats as how we wrap up every rebuild. 27,000 yards passing, 195 touchdowns, 83 picks for Justin Fields, as well as 4,300 yards rushing and another 39 touchdowns. He had a really good career, but I don't know. I almost feel like this year is going to hold how I feel about everybody in this rebuild a little bit differently. I mean, Ollie Gordon was a great role player. 8,500 yards, 66 touchdowns for Javonte Williams. Did most of that with us. George Pickens, 8,500 yards, 59 touchdowns, 47 and 32 for Freiermuth, 41 and 26 for Trey Harris. 3 seasons for Jeremiah Smith, almost 4,000 yards and 37 touchdowns. Incredible. I don't think he averaged 234 yards a game, but that's less glitchy looking than our team's record this year. Minka just under 900 tackles. We got 181 TFLs, 188 sacks for TJ Watt, chasing the all-time record. Run it back for another year, likely breaks it. He has the most sacks in NFL history. 85.5 from Highsmith, 27 from Walter Nolen, Benton with 26, 28 picks, Minka, 12 from Joey Porter Jr. Man, oh man. I mean, like, would this have happened? Like, again, is this because I lost my coordinators? Like, if last year, year 4, we went, 12-5. 12-5, lost in the AFC Championship game. Was this going to be the result? Or is it because we won the Super Bowl and because, I don't know. I've never, I don't think in any rebuild, ever experienced something that would lead me to believe that losing coordinators would have anything to do with your sim performance. If I'm being honest. Because our offense stayed the exact same. Steelers offense, Steelers defense. But 4-13 as a 90 overall defending Super Bowl champion with the exact same team. Exact same. Harder schedule, maybe a little bit. But 15-2 to 4-13, no changes schematically, no changes personnel-wise is bizarre to me. Absolutely bizarre. But luckily, we did work in year 4. We were able to win a Super Bowl, and that is a check mark. Mission accomplished. You guys wanted to see Justin Fields as the quarterback of the Steelers. I surrounded him. I went out and got the biggest, best, brightest wide receiver prospect maybe of all time in Jeremiah Smith. We drafted, developed, kept a great offensive line together. We went out and got Javonte Williams when he was cast aside and made him the next great free agency running back signing. We maintained an expensive defense. I felt like we did a great job knowing when not to pay players like Patrick Queen, and I think we were going to get ready to make a very smart decision by moving on from Freiermuth if we didn't win the Super Bowl. Same with the running backs, Najee Harris and Ward. I thought we made a lot of smart decisions, and luckily we were rewarded with a Super Bowl. But this is not making any sense for how this video is going to end. But it is what it is. Hey, weird things happen, I guess. And luckily, we're able to get out of this as a successful rebuild. So that'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed. Leave a comment in the comment section below on what team you want to see me rebuild next. And comment which player we should feature in that rebuild. And until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out, love ya. Have a good one.